Of press conference addressed by the Center for African Liberation and Socio-Economic Rights on the response to the various humanitarian issues in the country and the laudable achievement of the Honorable Minister for Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Hajiya Sadiya Farouq. Commending the response to humanitarian crisis in Nigeria and the invaluable role of the Honorable Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development. In response to effectively addressing the various humanitarian crises in the country, President Muhammadu established the Federal Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development to develop humanitarian policies and provide effective coordination of national and international humanitarian interventions, ensure strategic disaster mitigation, preparedness and response, and manage the formulation and implementation of fair, focused social inclusion and protection programs in Nigeria. The creation of this all-inclusive ministry was widely applauded by the generality of Nigerians, which was an indication that the administration of President Muhammadu was indeed concerned about the plight of those affected by the humanitarian crisis in the country, and the urgent need to have laudable programs and policy that would address these challenges and in an effective and timely manner too. The Center for African Liberation and Socio-Economic Rights, having followed the various humanitarian issues in Nigeria occasioned by the Boko Haram terrorist group, flooding in some part of the country and other forms of natural and human-made disaster in the country, wishes to express its satisfaction with the way and manner these issues have been addressed by the government through the various interventions of the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development. This, in our considered opinion, dwelled on the fact that President Muhammadu Buhari's choice of Hajiya Sadiya Farouq to lead this interventionist ministry, and so far using all measurement parameters, she has done brilliantly well in not just nurturing a new ministry, but also ensuring that it hits the ground running in the fulfillment of its vision to have social protection systems that are proactive, humane, inclusive, and sustainable for the improvement and general welfare of the people. The Center for African Liberation and Socio-Economic Rights wishes to state that Hajiya Sadiya Farouq has indeed proven herself as a square peg in a square hole through her innovative approaches to handling the various humanitarian crises in the country. It goes further to bring to the fore that indeed there exist some Nigerians that are burning with passion for the growth of development of the country. It therefore suffices to state that the Honorable Minister for Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development is in that category of Nigerians burning with that passion and desire to make Nigeria great again. The fact can be seen in the way and manner the ministry has been able to intervene and mitigating the effect of Boko Haram crisis in northeast Nigeria by ensuring that those displaced by the disaster are adequately covered in the federal government social safety net initiatives. The Center for African Liberation and Socio-Economic Rights thanks President Muhammadu Buhari for appointing a selfless and dedicated Amazon in Hajiya Sadiya Farouq to lead the critical sector of providing humanitarian aids to victims of conflict, disaster, and other forms of economic exclusion in the country. The Center for African Liberation and Socio-Economic Rights wishes to use this medium to advise those against the interests of the country to stay clear of the Honorable Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, as she carries her mandate of promoting human dignity and integration of basic human benevolence and compassion in the treatment of all Nigerians. The Center for African Liberation and Socio-Economic Rights shall resist any form of smear campaign against the personality of Hajiya Sadiya Farouq to cause a distraction. This set of individuals and organizations should have a rethink and toe the path of patriotism in the overall interest of the country and those Nigerians that dot the nook and crannies of the country and in dire need of government intervention in their daily lives. The Center for African Liberation and Socio-Economic Rights hereby commends the response of humanitarian crisis in Nigeria and the invaluable role of the Honorable Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development.